first of all, book club is about friendship, and it's I think it's more common to see men being friends in their own male way in movies, but this is a female friendship, and it's not a bitchy friendship. It's not a competitive friendship. It's a friendship born of knowledge of people over a long period of time. And it's women who have leaned on each other repeatedly for many decades. And they have a book club, but that's just a thinly veiled excuse to drink wine and talk. And there is a lot of talk about men, but there's a lot of talk about life, and there's a lot of truth-telling, things that are told that only a friend can tell you. I, in real life, had worked a little bit with Candice Bergen, which I had treasured. I had met both Jane and Diane, but I'd never worked with either one of them. And so in the movie, I'm pretty sure you can see me literally falling in love with all three of them, because that's what happened to me and my heart. They were funny and brilliant and honest, and we all sat in a garage of the house that's supposed to be my house, which, by the way, is also supposed to be Candace's house. And we sat in the garage. That was our green room. And we just talked about life. And those conversations were so precious in a way, because then when we went back in and did scenes together, something had happened to us that the friendship, you could feel. Maybe it wasn't decades old, but you could feel it was real. I think Carol is the probably the nurturer of the group, and in some ways the truth teller of the group. And she's brave. She's not afraid to do things that should frighten her. And she's had a really good marriage and a really good family, but her marriage is in a place right now where it feels as though her husband is rejecting her. He's going through his own kind of dark night of the soul, and it's played by Craig T. Nelson, who I love. Second time he's my husband. Carol is needing her friends. I think it's a moment in time where each of us needs this group of women quite a lot, and we have each other's backs, and it's funny, and it's just it's really lovely. And I think the thing I love most about it, or the response so far from people, is that so many young people have told me they've either seen it and somehow and loved it, or they can't wait to see it. And I love that, because one of the stories in the film, or the messages, is that there isn't this moment where you're cooked. Like, if you're waiting to be wise at a certain age, or above it all in some way, or nothing left to learn, or not able to get your heart broken, or whatever it is you think makes you cooked at a certain age, we're here to prove that's not true. And have we acquired some wisdom over the years? Yes, but we're still hungry. Well, the book that we decide to read, based on, I believe, Jane's character, brings the book 50 Shades of Grey to our book club. And we've probably read much more, highbrow books in our book club, and it's supposed to stimulate our minds. But of course, Jane says, well, this book, I hear, is very stimulating. And it is. It causes each of us to ask where's that part of me that's sexual? Where's that part of me that wants love? Where's that part of me that wants romance? Where is, what's happening with that part of me? And so it kind of creates havoc in all four of our lives. And in my life, it illuminates the fact that my husband and I are just two ships in the night in lots of ways, but definitely in the bedroom, but in lots of ways. So that's how it shakes up my life. It's a big ode to friendship. And it's an ode to friendship that is sturdy. It's rolled with the punches of the years. You know, we've all had times that we were mad at each other or we hurt each other. We've all had to apologize and come back in there and dive back in there. And we've been through, I'm sure, you know, births and deaths and all the things that friendships go through, and growing older in a world that, you know, really celebrates youth and tries not to think about growing older. What I love about this movie is it celebrates it. I came into it with a great deal of excitement about working with these women, and I felt like, you know, I've done this for a long time, and I still have tons to learn about it, but I have done this for a long time. I mean, I'm 65. I made my first movie when I was 24. So that's a long time. And when the fear would come up of like, why should you be there with these crazy, iconic, you know, brilliant women? It was a nice thing for me to go, I think you're here because you earned it. I don't think it's a total fluke that you're here. And I had to stare that down. And then when I was with them, the sheer joy of being in scenes with those three women and how nurturing and talented and vulnerable, and how there was not 1 second of one diva, not 1 second off screen or on screen. It was just this like, boom, we're all here. We're all here to play, and we're all here for each other. I love Craig T. Nelson, and I knew it had to be somebody that could handle comedy, and that when this thing happened to him with the Viagra, that he would hit the perfect tone that would make that poignant and funny and real. And I just knew he could do that. And what I didn't know was that Craig actually is a really good dancer. Craig T. Nelson can really dance, actually. He can't lift me up a lot. Like, the lifts were kind of sad. And by the way, they used the saddest one in the movie, which I should speak to someone about, because he did lift me a little bit higher than that. But anyway, he was, he's one of these actors that when you're working with him, boom, you're looking straight in his eyes and he's looking straight back, and he comes ready to just work off of you and wherever you two are going to go. And I love that about him. Well, first of all, there's some really fantastic male performances in this movie, so the guys don't have to be afraid to come see it. There are some really fine actors in this doing really wonderful work, like Craig T. Nelson and Andy Garcia, you know, and Don Johnson and Richard Dreyfuss, and, you know, there's just, and Ed Begley is wonderful in it. So, but they should come see it because it's funny, and they should come see it because you'll walk out with a big grin on your face at the end of it. It doesn't matter how old you are or what sex you are.